Thank you all for coming here this morning. Opening statements, Lori Smith. We'll begin. I think the microphone with the blue head is the one that's green.
First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to this forum. I really appreciate it. As public revenues decline, it's imperative that we continue to maintain strong fiscal and strong management practices within any government entity, and that's the reason that I'm running for sheriff. Tough times really demand experience. They demand someone who has a proven track record in providing the services that you, the community, are looking for. During my tenure as your sheriff, our organization has emerged as one of the preeminent law enforcement agencies in the nation. We're appreciated for what the job is that we do on the streets. We're not only distinguished for our reputation within law enforcement, but we are also distinguished for our superior service and our commitment to honesty and integrity. We're also committed to preserving strong community relationships, and we've earned the trust of the neighborhoods that we serve. We're dedicated to keeping our children safe, keeping them in school, off drugs, and out of gangs. We also are committed to our victims, making sure that we protect the most vulnerable, whether they're the elderly or the young, and keeping them safe from the predatory criminals out there, particularly in the sex abuse cases. Despite recent budget cuts that we've had, our budget cuts have been similar to the district attorney, and despite budget cuts, we've managed to maintain our high level of service, and our crime rate continues to remain low. And this is the reason that so many people are endorsing my candidacy for re-election. I'm really proud to have broad bipartisan support. Congresswoman Zoe Lofgren has endorsed my candidacy, as has Congressman Mike Honda. I also have the endorsement of Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger and Senator Abel Maldonado, who may very well Monday be our new lieutenant governor. I also have endorsements from elected members from every city in the county, whether it's the council, whether it's the mayor, a council member, or the vice mayor. And many, many organizations are also supporting my candidacy. I have the support of the Eastside Teachers Association, the Deputy Sheriff's Association. And I know I talked a lot about endorsements, but the reason that I'm highlighting my endorsements is because my opponents would have you believe that the sheriff's office is broken and needs to be fixed. But most of their allegations are baseless and false. And I'm telling you that it's not true, but also all of the elected officials, and in particular the people that I work with, the Board of Supervisors, have all endorsed my candidacy, and our great Pete Constant also has. We're trusted for our leadership practices. About 5 years ago, we assumed...
Thank you very much. Richard Calderon, I believe we have another one, so if you want to try.
Thank you. I am Richard Calderon, and I want to make a confession. I've never been in this place without popcorn, so I will get some afterwards as well. But I am an experienced law enforcement officer. I was a police captain with San Jose PD, and I was in charge of the entire Western Division of the city of San Jose. And when I was on duty, I was responsible for 1 million. For the 1 million residents of San Jose. And quite often, during multiple critical incidents, I responded to and took care of multiple agencies in response to the need of the public. With this, I want to ask you to consider results, not endorsements, because results are the way people should be evaluated. With this, I will tell you that I have been a leader in the community, and I'm not a politician, so I'm not going to tell you I'm going to be smooth. I'm definitely an experienced law enforcement officer and manager and leader. With this, I'll ask you to make some requests yourself. I've asked for some public records acts for the incumbent's calendar to see where exactly she's been, where exactly she goes, and also some other documents to provide some disclosure to you. Because I believe it's extremely important that there be transparency and disclosure to the public. When I'm your sheriff, I will be your employee, and I'll respond to you and also to your information, to provide you information. With this, let me give you a couple of items to to disclose the incumbent's mismanagement. Because recently, the county correctional officers were promised an identification card by the sheriff. With that identification card, there's a potential that they're going to be seen as a higher level of law enforcement, thus requiring an increased pay. And also, with this, there's a promise by the incumbent, which is on video. You can see yourself if you want to go to my website. She actually promised them to they could carry handguns off duty, which in fact is a crime. They're not authorized, and she told them if they were caught and prosecuted by the DA, she would go to court with them. With this, we could talk about the Deanza rape mistakes. I've asked for a Public Records Act to determine exactly what was happening there, but I'll tell you this, the investigators did not go out till 12 to 14 hours to investigate that the way it should have been. That is an important felony of rape against a 17-year-old, and it should have been handled properly. Also, there were $8 million of lawsuits paid out by the county, by taxpayers, not by the budget of the incumbent. With this, I will tell you what I've done. I was the chair of the Mayor's Gang Prevention Task Force. I helped put together a strategic action plan that now is a model throughout the United States on how to handle gangs, how to prevent gang activity. And that's what we need to do, is begin to prevent and intervene with gang activity and crime. Last year we spent $8 million.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Martin Monaco.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me to the forum. My name is Martin Monica. I am a retired chief of police, so I do have the leadership abilities. This forum is important for a democratic process, so you can find out the differences in the candidates, so you make an informed vote, which I think is important. And I have to say I'm the only proven leader in front of you at this time. There's a letter I have out in front from my former city manager that I worked under as a chief of police, and he will attest to my leadership abilities. He came forward and actually wrote a letter so you can see the documentation compared to just saying, I support you. But what I want to talk about right now, take a moment, talk about last week. I was teaching first grade, and I was assigned to yard duty. As I watched the children play, I thought to myself about, wow, I see and listen to the children of the future. I'm there teaching, and I'm there with them. I don't see any other candidates from the sheriff's race actively participating in children. They talk about reacting to crimes. They talk about how they have the most political endorsements, but where are they with our children? I'd have to say we in the community love and support our children. Where are the candidates there? What they don't talk about is how to prevent crimes and new innovative methods to prevent instead of incarceration. We talk about we're going to have these task forces, on this task force, we're going to put them away. Those are things we need to do, but to prevent crimes against children and families, that's where we need to start focusing. We're not doing that, but we want to pick up the pieces after they've been hurt. When I looked at those kids on the yard there running and playing, having fun, and saying, I hope they never get hurt, because all we do is respond to a crime instead of preventing it. I'm the only proven leader that worked with kids, which includes all the families and grandparents. All the other, I would like to ask the other candidates right now if they know what programs or activities are going on this weekend for our children, if they think highly of the children, which I do. I will be out of the community. The current sheriff does not go to the community. If you ask the majority of working people, you could ask the politicians and they all know her, but the actual people that are out in the community have no idea who the sheriff is. No idea. 12 years later and still don't know. That's a tragedy, and that's something that needs to be adjusted, just like Rich's comment. Also, Lori has lost, I would say, $12 million a year in poor fiscal responsibility, which she doesn't want to talk about, and I can give more on that later, but it's $12 million a year that is being wasted, which could go back into our community in the Sheriff's Department. And that there is a tragedy, because that money can be spent on things such as community programs. She spends approximately $100,000 a year on community policing, meaning working with the community. I'm sorry, thank you.